Take you to safety.
Safety? Where the fuck's that? There's no safety, you dumb bitch.
Take heed of the Hound's warning and let it free you. There is no guarantee of a job or a safety net. There is no absolute security from evildoers, and there is only so much you can do to prevent accidents and illnesses. The silver lining is that recognizing this is the best way to cushion yourself from the vulnerabilities in an unpredictable world. Brienne of Tarth, in Game of Thrones, nobly intends to uphold an oath that she swore to Lady Stark to protect Lady Stark's children. But she is also a bit naive about the nature of the world that she lives in. Brienne thinks that she can bring Arya to a safe place, wherever that is. But as the Hound so eloquently reminds her,
Safety? Where the fuck's that? Her auntie Neary's dead. Her mother's dead. Her father's dead. Her brother's dead. Winterfell is a pile of rubble. There's no safety, you dumb bitch. You don't know that by now. You're the wrong one to watch over her.
if Brienne ever thinks that she can let her guard down or relax, then she will never be safe. There is no destination at which point she and Arya will be ultimately secure. It just does not exist. And Sandor Clegane, the Hound, is correct. If Brienne of Tarth does not understand this basic fact about the world, then she is the wrong person to be watching over Arya. The Hound's negative view about the dangers in the world actually leaves him less vulnerable. He never expects to be safe, which makes him safer because he's always alert to the danger.
And that's what you're doing? Watching over her?
Aye, that's what I'm doing.
As rough and violent as the Hound is, Arya actually was safe the entire time that she was with him. This was no guarantee, it's just how it happened, due mostly to the fact that the Hound is constantly vigilant against danger. And even though Brienne's goal was to make Arya safer, she actually severely wounds the person who was protecting Arya. Brienne incorrectly judges the Hound to be a danger to Arya, but then Brienne fails to secure Arya, leaving her more vulnerable and defenseless than she had been before. Brienne's actions actually prove the Hound's point. Brienne's belief that she could bring Arya to safety created a dangerous situation that could have been avoided if she only realized that safety is a constant effort and not a destination. But should we really apply a lesson from a fake story in a mythical setting? In the modern world, we are much safer than humans were in the Middle Ages. And in the real world, there are certain things that we don't have to worry about, like White Walkers and dragons. But unfortunately, we do still have to contend with the likes of Cersei and the Lannisters, the Ramsay Boltons, and the treacherous Freys, all playing their part in our world's own Game of Thrones. In our lives, they're usually slightly less murdery, and more subtle in their desire for elitist domination. The lesson, however, remains the same. There is no guarantee of safety, you dumb bitch. But before you think I'm being gloomy and pessimistic, consider the gift of understanding this. In pursuit of the goal of ultimate safety, we expose ourselves and our society to all sorts of dangers. For instance, even assuming the US government had the best intentions over the last 2 decades of drone bombing the Middle East, to supposedly make us more safe, all it really did was create more terrorists. When innocent civilians get murdered by the USA's bombs, their friends and family become radicalized. Would there still be terrorists and crazy people without all that provocation? Yes, I'm sure. But the numbers would surely be lower, and we could focus on actual defense. And even if we assume, for example, that the Patriot Act and indefinite detainment clause in the NDAA were passed with the best intentions of targeting terrorists, they have made our own government a much greater threat with the powers they granted. The people who advocate gun control, strict COVID lockdowns, or a government safety net are like Brienne of Tarth, making us less safe because they misunderstand the inherent danger that life carries with it. If other people take away our agency to decide what are the biggest threats facing us, or force us to respond to those threats in a particular way, they will inevitably put us in more danger. That is especially true if they suffer no consequences for their decisions. For example, if the people who ban guns can afford to hire private security, then what difference does it make to them if you can't protect yourself when your home is invaded? We like to imagine a perfect society in which we're secure, safe, comfortable, and just generally all set happily ever after. But the desire for a finish line is elusive. We can make ourselves robust against threats or even anti-fragile so that we could gain from disorder, as Nicholas Nassim Taleb says. But even this requires maintenance and vigilance. You always need to be understanding new threats and preparing more options which you can choose to exercise depending on what happens next. And this goes for much more than physical safety. Don't expect Social Security to be there for you. Have a backup plan. There is no guarantee that any one currency will stay stable, valuable, or even continue to exist. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, including streams of income and the skills you have to earn a living. At the end of the day, safety comes down to vigilance. Unless you are constantly on alert to what things threaten your safety, then you'll be taken by surprise. That doesn't mean obsessing over it, it just means being aware and making a plan B. It doesn't really matter if the person making you less safe is a well-meaning but naive Brienne of Tarth, or a power-hungry, calculating Cersei Lannister. Cersei, in a sense, is safer to be around because you understand the danger and can protect yourself. But how can you protect yourself from somebody who thinks they have your best interests at heart, whether you like it or not? Some people will have noble goals when they try to force you into their safe world which they have flawlessly designed for security. Their ignorance makes you just as vulnerable as Cersei's malevolence. Others will offer us safety, utopia, and ultimate security that we can just accept and then forget about. This will lead us down a path of vulnerability. Whether those who lure you into a false sense of security are doing so because their goals are noble or because they have nefarious ulterior motives hardly matters. We must each be at liberty to look after our own safety. Arya, for example, had chosen to stick around the Hound and benefit from the safety he provided. When he was incapacitated, she could have chosen to be protected by Brienne, but instead she chose to go it alone and to protect herself. She ultimately became much more capable for it. And that is essentially the option that we all need if we hope to make the world a safer place. We should all be free to choose our own government, and not just from the 200 or so similar subpar options currently available. And we should also be able to choose to go it alone or create our own society if we do not like the options available. The ability to take our business elsewhere without threat or force will create a market for the best protection from various threats, which will improve the variety and quality of the services offered. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit the little bell so that you're notified. Follow me on at least one other platform, links below, just in case YouTube ever cuts me out. And join my email list so that we never lose contact. I'm Joe Jarvis. Thanks for watching. Come back and see me again soon.